I see certain people that are in sort of a similar position to me, like the most obvious one, like Joe Budden, where he wanted to transition out of that rapper role. So at a certain point, he had to stop wearing sweatsuits and start wearing the nice pea coats and the fucking wingtip shoes and all this shit.
Right.
I just don't know if I got it in me.
I don't think you ever have to do that, though. I don't think you ever have to do that. I mean, one, you're Adam.
Right.
22.
But maybe at a certain point you want to be thought of differently. Does that ever occur to you, like that maybe if you wore a suit every day, you could just be thought of differently?
I think you can be thought of differently without wearing a suit every day. I mean, look at what you built in a short amount of time.
But just like you're saying, though, clothes are an expression of who you are.
It is, but if you don't give a fuck about it and you can still build an empire, then that is who you are.
But then you think you're sort of like also projecting. Like, there's a reason why, like, you and your young generation from Atlanta, et cetera, were attracted to all the designer shows because it represented a different level of taste and quality that wasn't available when you were really young, right?
Originally, we was wearing the high fashion because we was doing scams and jugs and shit, and if you look like money, then money will come to you. That's originally why we started doing it. We originally started wearing all the high-ass fashion because we was trying to get the kids to come let us do run the scams with them. Now, whether when you ran your scams, you took people off and you didn't give them no money, or you was like somebody like me where we ran our scams, you know, so we paid people off and made sure they got a lot of money so they would keep spreading like, hey, yo, go fuck with bro because he give you money. You know what I'm saying? Either way, you still got to look nice.
Will the unwritten scam history of Atlanta ever be communicated? Will there ever be like a documentary?
I hope not. I hope not. Nobody ever get a game up like that.
Why is the scamming world is still thriving from your perspective?
People still eating off that shit, man. People still eating to this day. And every time I hear one, I ain't gonna say no names, but every time I hear these little niggas giving up game, like it's cool, like just to get on for a second, that shit lame, bro. That shit hella lame.
Do you think TJX6 is snitching on the game?
I'm not saying no names. I ain't getting into no beefs. I'm not doing no shit with you, Adam. I'm just saying at the end of the day, it's niggas who got kids, niggas who got families, niggas who got cases, and all sorts of shit, and niggas who fight in their cases using the money that's coming from these techniques that's been thriving for years, and the more and more they keep putting that shit out there, the less and less effective it is.
I'm corporate now. I feel for MasterCard and Visa, Discover. I hate to think of the shareholders suffering.
Fuck them.
Just kidding. But do you like who put you on? Did you have like an OG, like in terms of the scam and shit? How was it explained to you? Because there are so many legends and stories you'll hear about such and such rapper who was coming to LA, Airbnb jugging.
No, but see, the Airbnb jug started. I will give this one nigga this credit for this. The Airbnb jug started with my niggas. I ain't gonna lie, we did that first. We turned that up.
Who else? Name names.
And
statute of limitations is up.
I'll give this nigga one credit. The nigga Theo Ferragamo is the nigga who really put everybody on that. He got everybody out here. I remember when niggas couldn't even come to LA because they couldn't survive out here, and he started putting niggas in Airbnbs. And that's the only credit I'll get that nigga. I'll give him that 100%. He did that.
That's funny to think of that being an era in which, you know, a lot of young kids were able to sort of make the leap to LA through this specifically. And it's turned on so many careers because niggas was able to come out here and stay out here,
right, and thrive like that. But I remember back in the day when I used to run into Quavo and Offset and them at the Apple Store in Lenox and shit back in Atlanta.
You're saying they were scamming too?
Back in the day, we all was.
What?
Back in the day, that was a long time. I mean, they multimillionaires now, so they don't give a fuck.
Do you think Takeoff's pieces were hidden?
Takeoff didn't want using pieces. Takeoff, I don't even remember Takeoff being there. I think Takeoff was too young.
Oh, he wasn't down?
Well, think about it. Takeoff was younger than that.
You think, does that impress you when you think about it? Offset went from scamming at the Apple Store. So where he's at now? That's crazy.
I always do Offset will make it because Offset is just a savage. He's a savage in all sorts. You know, when it comes to the hustle, to the mindset, to where he always distanced himself from the bullshit that's around. So I always knew Offset would be fine.
But there's only a few people, like Yachty is one of the only ones with like a record of getting arrested for scamming in the game, right? Who else?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. You get caught. You're not that good at it.
Isn't that crazy though that he's like clean ass image and shit, and he's like
he's a scamming nigga, right?
When I did his first interview, I didn't even know it, and then somebody sent me his Wikipedia afterwards. I'm like, what the fuck? I wish I could have asked him about that. He definitely would have shut it down.
I got all the armed robberies and shit, and niggas don't know about that either. It's about what we choose to show.
Really?
That's the other thing people don't know. You know, it's what we choose to show.
Really? So you beat mad cases people don't know about?
When I got signed to QC, I had cases on me heavy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of part of the QC ethos, right?
Yeah, I think it's part of it. I think you have to have heavy cases on you.
You got to be in the streets?
Yeah, you got to. I feel like you got to be in the streets to even get over there.
You mad at QC still, or is that relationship a little? What happened?
I don't talk to them, but I'm explaining this in a way where it's understandable. From a business aspect, I understand
that
what
they tried to
did.
freeze your career at a certain point.
But let's look at it at the facts, right? What artists do you know that hit like I hit that never went on tour with a major artist? I mean, never. Like not even one. What artist did I go on tour with?
But
None.
what was the motivation on their part, do you think, to hold your career back? Was it the fact that you were just volatile, that you weren't easy to get along?
I think I was too rambunctious.
Right.
I think from what it was that I wasn't a controllable asset. I was an asset, but not a controllable asset. And I feel like if you are trying to manipulate the way that they end up manipulating, that you need a controllable asset. And I'm not going to say who or what I feel became a controllable asset, but I think history shows itself to what it was. And if you look at what I was able to accomplish, I mean, you got every time people hear OG Parker, it's me, baby. You know what I'm saying? Every time you see the Deco records, every time you hear the Larry June records, you know what I'm saying? Every time you look at the history, who was running around with me then? Doja Cat, all these people. You look at it and you say, damn, well, where was Maco in the history of shit? Maco was always there in the history of shit. So QC had plenty of opportunities to say, look at what we're doing. Look at the fashion. Look at where this guy's coming from. But if you do that, if you give me that light, if you give me that shine, you can't take it back.
You think it was just a personal dislike that you guys developed for each other? That it seems to me like that was probably bigger than any other element.
That was bigger than anything, and that was because there are some things that happened off camera that was real.
Really?
And
tell us about them.
No, fuck no. Some shit. No matter how I feel about somebody or what it is, some shit remains in the streets, and it'll always be that way. And I respect P to a level where, you know, I remember some shit happened and P pulled up to my house in the hood. You know what I'm saying? I remember P was able to call me like, hey, man, grab this, you know, you feel me? Come, you know, some shit going on. And then, you know, I'm right there.
And you were there.
And he remembered that too. You know?
So do you feel like that relationship was strong enough that you should have been able to work through whatever kind of issues y'all had?
I feel like at this point, we should be able to work through it. Not that I don't want nobody to try, I don't want them involved in my career or like that. I'm just saying, like, you giving out bags of money to see who can free JT and all this other shit. Nigga, just give me my just due. Because we had conversations about this. You know what I'm saying? That this empire getting built. You know what I'm saying? We had this conversation. You know, if you look at the history of shit, there was no QC over at Motown or QC over at Capitol Records before there's OG Maco. OG Maco gets us to Capitol Records. OG Maco gets us to Motown. It was me and rest in peace, my homie Young Greatness. You know what I'm saying? It was me and Greatness over at Motown. And then
Skipper wasn't there yet?
Skipper, but no, everybody was there. Migos then was still signed to 300. Rich was still signed to 300, but nobody was able to sign to Capitol or Motown. The interest wasn't big enough.
Do you feel like them having a Yachty and them having Migos and shit like that, do you think that allowed them to basically, do you think you would have got a different level of attention if they didn't have other things that were succeeding at that time?
I feel like I feel like that was the plan. I feel like you know, I love Yachty to death, but Yachty was just a recreation of what was already going on in the aspect of, you know, you got the selling team, you had OGG, you had the producers, you have the colorful character with the fucking blonde hair raging and shit, you got the colorful character with the red hair raging and shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I just wasn't so happy and fucking go lucky. I was more kick ass and fuck you, bitch.
Yeah, but do you see, are you willing to acknowledge that like Yachty probably just had like this likable sort of like fun persona that you maybe didn't have? Of course you're likable if you're not saying fuck you, suck my dick. You know what I'm saying? Like, but every other second line was like, yo, fuck you, suck my dick. And I still feel that way. Fuck you, suck my dick. But you started to piss people off, don't you think?
I don't give a fuck. We're doing business, not feelings.
Right.
And I went to a label that I felt like we're supposed to be the street nigga label, right? All right, so it was certain stuff that, like I said, certain stuff that went on off camera that was street nigga shit. You feel me? It's in the streets. Keep it in the streets. Don't put that involved in the business. If niggas can't handle themselves in the streets, that is what it is. Like, at this point now, I got nothing to fear. You feel me? Like, nigga, I almost died last year. You know what I'm saying? I almost died the year before that.
Right.
So I'm supposed to be afraid of death? Why?
But do you think a lot of people would be scared to even speak on the QC situation?
Yeah,
because they're
of course they will, because those are very, you know, those are people of respect.
Right.
And I feel like also it's a lot of fuck niggas out here too. Like I said, even no matter how I feel about certain shit, I still have enough respect for P where it's certain shit that happened I would never speak on, because certain shit remains in the streets. And you keep it to the code of the streets. And that's what it is. And if you've never been in the streets, then I don't expect you to keep no code of the streets. If you're some square ass nigga, then you go and tell Adam 22 what happened to you and go tell mommy and daddy. You know what I'm saying? But if you a street nigga, then it is what it is, and you let it happen. But I also feel like, just like if you go and you make 1,000,000 bricks after you rob me for a brick, right? When the time comes, give me back my 1,000,000 bricks. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to give me back all the bricks you ever made.
You think they made millions off you?
I think the process in which I got us to made them enough money to all own boats, Ferraris, Rolls Royces, and buy chains every week. I think without my album, that never even got released. Without the process that I got us to, without me getting us to Motown in the way that I got us, I feel like there is no QC to Empire in the current state that it is.
Right.
Does that Empire happen still? Yeah, I believe so.
Is it hard to not sort of turn into this like resentful person that is just like
I did that
angry?
already. Did it already.
You did that persona and you feel like you're past it now?
I did the resentment already. It did nothing but eat me alive. And that was more deadly than a flesh-eating bacteria. You know, just to sit there and stew in that shit. You know, and it fucked up my creative process, and it fucked up my process as a human being. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't able to grow because I was too busy being pissed off. I mean, when you look at it and say, damn, bro, look at all I was able to accomplish. Look at how much stuff was stolen from me. People taking my sound, people taking my look, people taking all this, and all this label got to do is say something. Like they ain't even got to give me all the credit in the world. Just say something like, man, y'all remember Maco doing all this shit beforehand? Like y'all remember all this shit?
Right.
You know, I remember when my first projects got put on streaming, I had to like actually do that myself. I had to figure out a workaround to do that. They wouldn't even put my music on streaming.
Well, because for a while your shit was getting taken down off SoundCloud and streaming sites and stuff. But what do you think their motivation was for that? Do you think that they really just wanted to absolutely freeze your career so there was no chance of you?
I mean, what other motivation was there at that point?
Right. Because you don't hear about a lot of people getting that kind of treatment in the music industry these days.
You feel what I'm saying? So I mean, if we can run through a bunch of shit and say, oh, it could have been this, it could have been that. But I mean, what other real motivations are there? And I remember when I was doing things on my own, I would get responses. They never knew I was getting the backdoor responses, or people was telling me what they was doing actually. You know, but they was. And I found out when there was certain magazines that wouldn't pull me up or talk about me or speak on me because of certain things. They was in fear of the relationship with QC falling apart, so they wouldn't talk about me. You know what I'm saying? Or certain artists that everybody like they hard, but they really bitch ass niggas because they wouldn't say certain shit because they was so afraid. Oh yeah, QC won't fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? Managers, oh, QC won't fuck with me. And at the same time, QC was still doing what QC was doing and still not fucking with them. That's the craziest part about it. QC still didn't fuck with them. So,
it's funny because I'm picturing Coach K or P watching this, and I feel like they probably don't give a shit. They'll probably be like, oh, it sounds kind of gangster.
Yeah.
Like, fucking, why would they have any problem with being represented that way if they seem like they can toss their weight around enough to make people, or if they could not even say anything and already have certain magazines be shook to fuck with people. I mean, at this point, I interviewed you and Skip it. So I mean, if they're gonna be mad at me, then
that's all.
I gotta come.
Like I said, I'll say it. Yo, P, hey, we good, bro. Just those bags that you keep handing out to everybody, just throw me one. That's all I want. I feel like I did a lot of hard work. I feel like I did my part. You remember that conversation we had in Studio B that day? I feel like I did my part on that. So if you can fuck with me, I would appreciate that. Other than that, wish me well. I'm doing fine. You know, Maco got that flame just dropped. It's going crazy.
Do you feel like that is the kind of thing from your life experience that you've seen happen a lot? Because I'm not gonna be honest, I don't really see, even the richest guys I know don't seem like they're really like throwing people bags just to be nice.
No, I don't. I mean, nor do I expect it to happen, but I'm still gonna say what I say. Yeah. You know, I don't, because at the end of the day, I've done what I had to do this whole time, and I've been fine. Right. Just like you said, you see me around LA. I don't look like I'm having any sort of problems. Every time you see me, I'm doing just fine. Pop up in the same spot.
So how do you feel about your financial situation right now? Like probably a lot of people are curious.
We all wish everything could be better. I mean, I'm not riding around in fucking boats and Kulikans.
Me neither. No yachts.
You know what I'm saying? But so yeah, of course I wish that I could have that. But I also feel like through my own work ethic and through my own drive that if that's for me, that I will attain it. At the same time, I will never not say what I believe is duly owed to me.
But it must have been like maddeningly frustrating at a certain point because you still have this certain amount of clout attached to your name at this point because of the songs that have popped off, but then you have someone stopping you from even putting out more stuff. So you feel like
it was frustrating.
My sole thing that I have to offer is my artistry, and I can't even put my artistry out. Yeah. It's got to be tough.
It was tough. But I mean, nobody took pity on me. Everybody thought I was just some fucking one-hit piece of shit, you know, and everybody told me I was supposed to be trash and yada, yada, yada. People even now say, oh, yeah, QC dropped you. I'm still signed to QC right now, you know?
But so, do you wish you could put an end to that, or?
Do I wish I could what?
Get out of that contract? Or is that...
I wish I could leave QC and stay with Capital. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If I could leave QC and stay with Capital, I would be fucking ecstatic.
But you're able to put music out now, right? Yeah. So you're just hoping that QC doesn't give a shit?
Not really, nothing like that.
Because I noticed that when I was on your Instagram that the link to a YouTube video that is in your bio, that link is not there. And I was wondering, did they?
Oh, no. That was one of my artist videos that was up there. No. That's a good thing. I released enough stuff through my own content, even from the beginning. Like, my YouTube was already my YouTube. Okay. You know? So I did enough stuff in the beginning where I secured my bags. And that's the good thing. And no, I don't worry if QC care or not. I know for a fact at certain points they don't give a fuck. And I know they're not rooting for me at the end of the day. I've heard and had conversations where it's just like, oh, you know, I think of the words where I didn't hold it down when times were bad, which I'm trying to remember when times was bad for QC, but
that you didn't hold it down.
That's what I heard. That's what was told to me. That the problem was I didn't hold it down when times were bad. That's what I heard. Those were the exact. I think that's the exact quote. I can say that's what it was. I didn't hold it down, which I don't know how I didn't hold it down because I mean look at shit. You know, they got a restaurant in fucking Falcons in the Falcons Stadium.
Right.
You know? Like, how did I hold it down? They damn near run Motown and Capitol, and I don't see anybody else who got us there. I don't see who got us to Motown.
Right.
Who got us there? I
mean, hey, they would probably say Yachty and Migos.
No, Yachty got signed after me, so that's impossible. And Migos was still at 300, so that's impossible. We talking straight facts. I ain't got to try and flex my dick. It just is what it is. Like, I got us there.
Right.
And you can say that's what it is or that was their maneuvering or whatever it was, but I wanted to go to UMG. And they told me that, you know, Capitol was a better move for the label as a whole.
Right.
And so I went with Capitol. Like, you know, let me hold down the label. Let me do what's best for the label because UMG wanted me.
Did you think, so looking back on that, you regret that decision?
Depending on what they do after, you know, depending on how they feel. If my phone rings or I have a conversation with somebody to talk to them and they can maybe clarify like why things went that way, yes or no.
But I mean,
because you never know. Maybe I went with UMG and my life turned out different on some personal shit that I wasn't that I'm not happy with.
But it's like a classic situation. Whenever anybody ends up signing through somebody, you know, they always end up regretting any sort of middleman being involved in that situation.
Always,
we see it with Uzi playing out constantly right now.
Always. But I mean, with me, I never look at things purely financially because I feel like the finances can always be gotten another way. So who's to say I don't sign with UMG and the things happen in my life and I end up, you know, not being around. Maybe my mom gets sick, you know, or maybe, you know, life happens different ways because one blessing begots another curse.
Is that something that ever crossed your mind where you ever like, is this karma? Did I do something horrible and the fucking universe is against me?
I know I did enough. I did enough good. I did a lot of bad, but I know I did enough good. I
don't believe in that karma bullshit anyway, so.
I believe the karmic essence is real, but I believe that it takes. I know murderers who make millions.
Right.
So I don't believe it works the way we think.
NoJumper.com. Like, comment, subscribe. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you want one of these, you know where to go. And then No Jumper Facebook too. Link is down in the description. Some good stuff going on over there. Appreciate y'all watching this.